Hey, I'm Spence with energeticcity.ca, and this is the Community Roundup, which is sponsored by Brad's Furniture and Appliances. And right now, I'm at the North Peace Museum with Heather. How are you doing, Heather?
Good, you?
I'm doing great. Love being back at the museum. It's where I actually did my first Community Roundup, and it's always great coming back here. But today, we're going to talk a little bit about a traveling exhibit that we have the pleasure of hosting for, I think, until you said September.
Yes.
Our Living Languages. Can you tell me a little bit about what this exhibit is and what it kind of teaches folks?
So this exhibit was put together by the Royal BC Museum and the First Peoples Cultural Council, and it looks at Indigenous languages throughout British Columbia, how they were lost over the last 150 to 200 years through everything such as residential schools or loss of land, and what various groups are doing to try and revitalize these languages.
Okay. And the exhibit is, other exhibits do have some interactive elements to it, but this one really has several. Can you tell me a little bit about the interactiveness of this exhibit?
Yeah, so we have several videos. We have various places where you can just listen to sounds, so certain pronunciations that are common in some of the Indigenous languages. And then probably the coolest one is the map behind us here, where you just select a community and it'll tell you how many people are fluent speakers, how many people don't speak the language, how many people speak it a bit, and how many people are learning. So.
And you can see the Denizas right there, and Fort St. John is obviously right there. And it's kind of looking at throughout BC. And you actually have seen this exhibit before. Can you tell me a little bit more about that?
So this is just a smaller scale version of the larger permanent exhibit on display at the Royal BC Museum in Victoria. So this is the traveling version, so it's a bit shorter, but there's still lots of video clips and a great way to kind of learn a lot more about languages throughout British Columbia as well as locally.
So what was the process in getting an exhibit like this into the museum?
Well, this exhibit, we had asked for it back in 2020, and then the pandemic had interfered, and we said, not a good year to host it, could we have it later? So we were able to get it for this summer. Luckily there's funding that the Royal BC Museum secured to bring it up here. So we just had some volunteers help one of the people from the Royal BC Museum set it up, and it's, here for, about 3 months in total.
That's excellent. So you have until September
3rd.
Excellent. And then I believe the museum is also doing free tours on Canada Day, so folks can come see this for free.
It's free self-guided tours on Canada Day, so you can come in and see this exhibit and the rest of the museum for free, and we also have scavenger hunts in our outside buildings with prizes.
That's awesome. I have done one of their scavenger hunts. It's very fun, and I'm like 24, so kids will love it. And you have a few other things on the go this summer. Can you tell me a little bit about what's coming up at the museum?
Yeah, so we have 3 more cemetery tours. There's one of each of our tours. So there's the original tour in mid-July, followed by our brand new Woodlawn Cemetery tour again, and then in early August we have our Alaska Highway themed cemetery tour at the main cemetery.
That's awesome. I have a vague idea of what a cemetery tour is. Can you tell me a little bit about what you do on one?
So really we just go and tell stories about people as we're standing by their graves. So it's not a scary tour at all. If anything, it's more of a funny tour because there are some great humorous stories, but you learn a lot about people's lives and the challenges they went through and what it was like in Fort St. John, 50 or more years ago sometimes.
Amazing. I hope that when I pass away, people make jokes at my grave too. Anything else that's happening at the museum?
Not really.
I've been meaning to ask, how did your documentary night go?
It went pretty well. Yeah, still working our way up to larger numbers with kind of post-pandemic, but yeah. We're fingers crossed for the cemetery tours that for once it's actually sunny.
Yeah, well, that would be nice. But you can never really plan for Fort St. John weather, right? It's like, bring a jacket. If you don't like the weather, it's going to change in 30 minutes anyway. Excellent. Well, anything else you want to add about this exhibit before I let you go?
Come down and see it. It's a really great exhibit, and there's lots to experience, and we've added a bit more local content about how the Denizas language was written down.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much for having me today, and I look forward to kind of being able to view the full tour on Canada Day.
Sounds good, thank you.
Awesome. Well, this has been the Community Roundup, which is sponsored by Brad's Furniture and Appliances. I'm Spencer for energeticcity.ca. This lovely person is Heather from the North Peace Museum. Make sure you stop by and say hi, and she'll be able to tell you a little bit more about history and the piece if you're interested. Thank you so much for watching.